There are people you meet in your life who change the way you walk through the world. They don't do it with grand speeches or thunderclaps from on high. They do it by showing up day after day and loving you in a way that never asks for anything in return. For me, two of those people were my mom, Helen, known to nearly everyone as Zip, and my aunt, Della Lee. This year would have marked a century since the days they were born. Mom on August 8th, and Aunt Della Lee on June 17th, both in 1925. Born what was essentially weeks apart, they seemed destined to walk through life together. What began as friendship grew into family when Della Lee married Mom's brother, Uncle Joe. Their bond, sisters-in-law and cherished friends, carried them across decades, a quiet thread of love and loyalty, woven into the fabric of our family story. If heaven is real, and I believe it is, then, I imagine it looks like Uncle Joe's family farm, near Burney, Missouri, on the kind of autumn afternoons I remember, when the sun hung low over a ready-to-harvest field, and the air was filled with the smell of peaches left to soften in a basket by the back screen door. That's where our story begins. Down where history fades into memory, and memory into lore. It was a simpler time when folks didn't need much more than a cool breeze and good company, when the days felt easy and the evenings carried the serenade of pond frogs and the buzzing of dragonflies. A lanky hound gave a half-hearted bark from his spot under the sycamore. A few leaves drifted down, copper and honey in the evening light. Out by the fence line, the cotton was near ready, bowls splitting open, exposing what looked like soft white fur. The air smelled of turned soil and air-dried laundry on the line. An old Chevy truck sat parked in the shade, tailgate dropped down. Two young men were perched there, all elbows in sunburn, in ripped jeans and faded white t-shirts. In front of them, a barn door balanced on sawhorses served as a table, heavy with summer offerings. Glass bottles of Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, and Coke sweating in a silver ice bucket, bowls of sliced peaches shining with syrup, and a wooden churn packed with vanilla ice cream. At the center sat the celebration cake. It's Happy 100, scrawled in bright icing. Three cats were curled up in the truck cab, relaxing after a lively day of hunting for barn mice and chasing butterflies. Theodore twitched at the smell of ice cream drifting through the breeze, his whiskers quivering. But Molly and Oliver lay deep in dreams, gone to the world, as if they'd been pulled under by some gentle current. Zip and Della Lee sat in straight-backed wooden chairs at the long barn door table, hands folded loose in their laps. Della Lee's eyes still had that sharp glint, quick and knowing. But they softened with pride as she watched the boys, lost in a conversation she didn't need to understand. Zip sat beside her, the quieter one, though you wouldn't know it once she got to laughing. She never showed she was smarter than most, but you felt it in the way she caught the joke a beat quicker, or remembered a story straighter. She was steady in that way a good friend is steady, always ready to laugh, always ready to listen. Across from the two women, on the tailgate, sat Austin and Kent, barefoot, legs dangling, spirited and scrappy as hounds, all sharp elbows and restless energy. They had the summer-bronzed look of boys who'd spent more of their lives outdoors in nature than under a roof. Sparrows chirped above in the trees, and the sweet smell of honeysuckle cut through the heavy air as the boys grinned, shining with heart, ready to begin Zip and Della Lee's 100-year celebration. Della Lee leaned in with a mischievous grin. "Zip, did you hear what your daddy told me this morning at breakfast?" Zip laughed, her finger already swaying. "I saw him say something that made you wag your finger at him. What in heaven's name did he say this time? He said to me, well, to both of us, about our advancing years evidently. I'm not saying you two are getting old, but back when you girls were born, the Dead Sea wasn't dead yet. It was just sick." Della Lee shook her head, smiling as if she still couldn't quite believe it. Zip chuckled. "He loves that one. I've heard it 100 times if I've heard it once." She turned her attention toward the boys, her voice brisk but warm. "You boys grab your cake and ice cream before it melts. Get some peaches too. We picked those peaches this morning." The air smelled sweet with the cut fruit, and the bucket of sodas popped as the ice shifted. Austin was already reaching for a bowl. "I'll take care of that right now. Haven't had homemade ice cream in forever," Kent said, leaning forward, eyes on the churn like he could already taste it. "It's been too long. You want some, Aunt Della Lee? Mom?" "You two dig in," Zip said, waving a hand at the cake and ice cream. "We'll catch up on eating later." "Zip and I were talking about the good old days," Della Lee added, leaning back with a smile. "You boys can't even imagine how times have changed." Austin and Kent dug in, piling ice cream on the peaches. The sweet smell rose up, making their mouths water, pulling them back to summers before. Zip was thinking of the changes Della Lee had mentioned. "Boys, when me and Della Lee were young, all you saw in the night sky was the moon and stars. Maybe a stray meteor if you were lucky. Now when you look up at night, the stars refuse to stay still. You can't tell if you're watching a satellite, some space junk, or the opening act of an alien invasion. Although, they do say with all those new gadgets up there in space, you can send a message clear to Shanghai and get your answer back before you even finish typing." Della Lee laughed, shaking her head. Allie Mae could spread gossip from the post office to the Piggly Wiggly faster than that. She never needed some fancy satellite either. Zip smiled, fanning herself with a paper napkin. That sounds about right. The laughter came easy after that, and before long, Della Lee was back at it. Della Lee leaned in, eyes sharp. I can top that anyway. These boys are telling me cars and trucks don't even need drivers anymore. Makes no sense to me, but they say you just get in and start praying, I imagine. And with not a soul at the wheel, they just up and take you wherever you were going. She gave Zip a sideways look. One eyebrow arched. Maybe one of them could be programmed to drive you to church on Sunday mornings. Zip waved her hand, grinning wide. I don't know about that, Della Lee. But if they ever invent one that could get Doris anywhere on time, that would be the true technological miracle. And I would be the first in line to buy one. That set everyone off at once. Della Lee was giggling behind her hand. Kent nearly spilled his ice cream. You all do know, Kent said. Even with a robot-driving car, Aunt Doris's dogs are still going to be getting a bath and getting combed out. Scientists and state-of-the-art engineering won't be able to change that. Austin shook his head, eyes darting around. Y'all better hope Allie Mae and Doris aren't listening in on this. Della Lee waved that off, still laughing. They probably are listening in, and getting a good laugh. And they know we are only kidding. Zip leaned back, eyes twinkling. Oh, I am definitely not kidding. She smiled wide, and then had a good hearty laugh. After the chuckling died down, Della Lee lifted her chin, like a thought had just drifted back to her. If things were not crazy enough, somebody told me folks are talking to Elvis Presley now, she said, mock serious. On some contraption called ChatGPT. Austin nodded, a grin tugging at the corner of his mouth. Yeah, I heard about that too. They say you can have ChatGPT Elvis do your homework for you. But the giveaway is, every answer always ends with, thank you. Thank you very much. Everyone carried on with hearty belly laughs all around. Zip was immersed in thought. She leaned in low. That reminds me of something. Allie Mae knew a fortune teller over in Tallapoosa. Folks around there called her Buggy Betsy. Della Lee turned it over in her mind. Oh yes, I remember Buggy Betsy. Sweet woman, never did take a husband. Zip shrugged knowingly and went on. One of Betsy's claims to fame was that she could contact Elvis Presley, even sing duets with him. I heard she wasn't half bad either. She paused just long enough to recall. If memory serves, there was this one séance where she asked Elvis what his favorite sandwich was, and bam! Candles flickered, curtains flew open, and a jar of peanut butter dropped out of the air, right on the table. Bless her heart, she fainted dead away, hit the floor like a sack of potatoes. The laughter was still rolling when Austin shook his head, grinning. You have to be making this all up. Kent said, Lordy, I miss these stories. Della Lee leaned forward. Speaking of the king, I'm sure you went to Graceland more than a few times. Wasn't Herb a huge Elvis fan? Oh yeah, Zip said. Every Christmas he'd pack up Mark, Kent and me. Off we'd go. Place was lit up like Disneyland. He'd be out front, waving at cars as they drove by. Della Lee grinned. You boys aren't gonna believe this. When Zip and I were in our late 30s, right Zip? Zip nodded. That's about right. We took off to Graceland. Just the two of us. Herb and Joe would have killed us for going alone, Zip added. Had they known, Della Lee said, smiling. Laughs circled around the barn door table. Zip leaned in. Best part? Elvis was home, invited us right in, and guess who else was there? Judy Collins. Yep, Della Lee said. She was young then. Small crowd in the jungle room. She sang both sides now. I'll never forget those blue eyes. Voice of an angel, Zip murmured. You two saw Judy Collins in the jungle room at Graceland? Kent blinked in disbelief. Cross our hearts, Zip said. She was there promoting her new song. Not something you'd forget, Della Lee added. That's so cool, Kent sighed. Austin spoke up. I actually know that one. She's amazing. It's life's illusions I recall. Zip chuckled. I sure never knew life, or love, or clouds, Austin finished. They all broke into laughter. Reminiscing and regrouping, each took a drink and soaked in the beautiful evening. Della Lee finally broke the silence. Della Lee wagged a finger, mock serious. I'll tell you what, too. If these harebrained scientists spent more time tending to their souls, instead of nutty things like inventing robot mosquitoes, or bringing back the woolly mammoth, we'd all have a much better world to live in. Zip smiled in agreement. And you know what'll happen after that? Folks'll want to shoot and eat one. Before long, Tootsie'll be cooking mammoth burgers down at the Daisy Queen. That cracked everyone up, but Della Lee wasn't done. And Allie Mae'll be making woolly mammoth meatloaf, serving it with her mashed potatoes, and swearing the recipe's been in the family since Noah. Laughter was spilling over, and nobody wanted it to end. Austin, still shaking his head, was grinning too wide to argue. It took a minute for the laughter to fade. The kind of moment where folks wipe their eyes, catch their breath, and look around the table at each other, grateful just to be there. Yeah, time for a toast, Austin continued. Now y'all know we could sit here all night hearing the stories, and Lord I'd love that, but tonight we raise our glasses, or bottles, to the women who carried those stories. To Zip and Della Lee, the heart and soul of this family. Everyone, grab your bottle, Kent called, lifting his Pepsi high. Austin popped open a Dr. Pepper, his face warm in the barn light. Grandma Della Lee and Great Aunt Zip grew up with almost nothing, he said, his voice steady but tender. Hard to keep count of all the kids in one house, shoes and clothes passed down till they nearly fell apart. Kent pointed a finger up, to add, if I remember right, on Saturdays Grandpa Green hitched up the horse and cart to go to town, and each of the kids got one piece of hard candy. Just one. For the whole week. Zip nodded. That's the way it was. If it rained too hard or snowed too deep, Dad couldn't get to town at all. We made do until the next Saturday. Kent paused, taking it in. But you never went hungry, and you never thought you were poor. This time Della Lee chimed in. That's because everyone around us lived the same way. Dirt poor, and spiritually rich. I imagine that made you tough, Austin said. Across the table Zip gave Della Lee a knowing smile and shrugged. I won't lie, sometimes it was hard, growing up out there on that unmerciful hill in the woods. But it made us thankful. Grateful for what we did have. Kent raised his Pepsi, with a grin that shone like pride. And then you got married, and you built something different. Grandpa Joe and Great Uncle Herb, with you two by their sides, worked that ground until it finally paid off, Austin added. Because of that, us kids and grandkids grew up easy. Never went hungry, never missed out on stories at the table. We had it good. And family always came first, Kent said softly. We were lucky. Austin shifted his weight, glanced down, then back up with a grin. Man, I can't imagine all the stuff y'all been through, what you saw, what you felt. Watching kids shoot up taller than you, then that ache in the chest when they finally walked off. Kitchens full of laughter, Kent smiled. Sunsets you sat through, watching the days come to an end. Kent swallowed, his throat tight. Winter snow falling across the fields, summer storms rolling through. Austin nodded. Newborn farm animals, and a rainbow after a good rain. All those experiences that make a person stop and wonder. Della Lee nodded. Oh yes, we saw plenty. Made a person really consider the beautiful power of this world we so briefly passed through. You watched us all while life kept rolling on, Kent said. Some dreams came true, some slipped away. Some folks got to live it out. Some got called home too soon. He shook his head, gently met eyes with Austin. He looked back at the women. All of that, you carry with you. And what you left with us, that's your legacy. Austin lifted his bottle. For that, Kent and I. He looked over, and Kent gave the smallest nod. We owe you more than we could ever pay you back for. Times may change, but the values we learned from you haven't changed at all. Truth is, they matter more now than ever. Kent nodded again. You two lived the American dream. and I fear we may never see times like that again. But tonight, we look back. We say thank you. Bless you. What you did was nothing short of an honest miracle. They stood then, bottles catching the lantern light. Austin finished, to an amazing great Aunt Zip and awesome Grandma Della Lee. The words rose and lingered, warm as the night outside, steady as the song of the crickets. All four leaned in and clinked their bottles, and took a good, long drink. Zip dabbed at her eyes with the corner of her apron, shaking her head. Mercy, boys, you'd think we was saints the way you carry on. Truth is, we just cooked and kept you in clothes, and hoped y'all turned out halfway decent. Della Lee chuckled, her shoulders easing as she patted Zip's hand. Well, looks like we did that. More than decent. Our hearts are overflowing with pride, and this toast, Lord, it's sweeter than my cherry cobbler. Thank you, boys. You'll never know how much it means. For a moment the yard was quiet. Bottles still in hand, they soaked up being together, gazed across the barn door table, no longer needing words. Just a deep look into each other's eyes held the full story. Those eyes that night held all the love in the universe. They passed around a gentle, knowing smile, and took in all the powerful beauty that full country night had to offer. And when no one was looking, Theodore finally buried his whiskered face in the ice cream dish.
castles in the air and feathered canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way, and now they only block the sun. They rain and snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in my way. I've looked at clouds from both sides now, from up and down, and still somehow it's clouds, illusions I recall. I really don't know clouds at all.
The porch swing creaked. Della Lee and Zip sat side by side, watching the yard where Austin and Kent were stretched on a faded quilt, looking up into the vast, clear night sky. Cicadas echoed in the trees, A box fan hummed in the open window, and somewhere down the block a lawnmower coughed and quit. "We sure try to keep up," Zip said, leaning back, her eyes on the yard. Della Lee nodded. "Had the Frigidaire, Crock-Pot, Electrolux, threw some Tupperware parties, never once felt like June Cleaver." Zip laughed softly. "I never did find the need to cut through a tin can with those Ginsu knives. A bagel guillotine, a fondue pot, always something new. Closets and drawers full of promises. None of them ever made our lives noticeably easier." In the grass, Austin and Kent had sat up, cross-legged, and were finishing the last of the peaches. Kent pointed to a star, and Austin followed his gaze. "Closets and drawers weren't the thing," Della Lee said, her eyes on the boys. "We made memories, raised those boys right, gave 'em good souls." The sky was clear enough to see the Milky Way, the moon creating shadows across the farmhouse and surrounding fields. Moths danced around a lantern hanging from the porch. The three cats clustered around a glass bowl that Austin had set down for them, lapping up the last vestiges of melted ice cream. A firefly hovered near the railing, blinked once, then slipped into darkness. Zip wiped her brow with a handkerchief, a crooked grin rising. "Do you think we did okay?" Della Lee's voice softened, her eyes bright. "We did better than okay, Zip. We always did." For a heartbeat, they shared a smile, half pride, half farewell, the kind only old souls pass between them, when they know the story's bigger than the telling. Out in the yard, Austin's laugh drifted back, easy and bright, the kind of laugh that made you want to join in. On the quilt, spread in the grass, he and Kent leaned in, whispering secrets like young men do, when the world feels new and full of promise.
That cluster right there, I think that's the Pleiades. Oh, beautiful. What about over there? Is that Cassiopeia? Yep.
Moons and Junes and Ferris wheels, the dizzy dancing way you feel as every fairy tale comes real. I've looked at love that way, but now it's just another show. You leave 'em laughing when you go, and if you care, don't let 'em know. Don't give yourself away. I've looked at love from both sides now, from give and take, and still somehow
That cluster right there, I think that's the
love's
Pleiades. Oh, beautiful.
I recall.
What about over there? Is that Cassiopeia?
I really don't know love at all.
The late evening slipped into night like quiet water. The stillness held as steady as the cricket song. The porch swing creaked again, slow, though now no one was in it. For an instant, the board seemed to sigh under remembered weight. Theodore, Molly, and Oliver had all found their spots on the quilt, eyes drooping, whiskers twitching. The night folded around them, cool and damp, with a kind of gentle breeze that carried weight. Suddenly the cats went utterly still, ears tilted toward the empty swing. Molly sniffed the air. Then, as if satisfied, all three stretched and curled closer into the quilt with a low, contented purr. Whatever they had become aware of, it was familiar to them. Kent lay next to the cats with his back on the quilt. His eyes grew heavy. His head lolled, breath soft and even, as he drifted into the kind of sleep that feels more like surrender than rest. He thought he heard Austin stand up, and maybe leave. Kent's eyes were too deep in rest to look and see for certain. The shadows surrounding the trees were still. If they were aware, they gave no sign. If they were watching, they watched in silence. Kent had never felt so entirely unanchored. The realization hit him like a physical blow. He suddenly felt lonely, and it frightened him. Yet, the sleep kept its hold, and soon he was walking in a dark woods. He looked in every direction, the path behind him, the path ahead, and he sensed that what had scared him was true. He was alone. He looked up into the dark branches. Kent whispered, barely audible, "Wait for me." A hush followed, and then, clear enough to make him catch his breath, came a whisper through the warm dark. "Always." Kent opened his eyes. He saw the sleeping cats, grinned at their peaceful presence. He looked around and saw it was just him and the cats. He sat up and wiped a chill from his arms. An owl called from the trees, low and resonant, a mournful cry echoing in the night. The lantern flame quivered, throwing long shadows that stretched into shapes older than the house, older than the woods. The owl's call faded into silence. Kent felt the night shift, wide and open. A feeling of profound peace washed over. A breath moved through him, not his own, saying, "You are free now. Where you go, I go." And in that knowing, the old solitude dissolved, and it never did return. The lantern steadied, as if bowing to the secret, and the darkness took them all. It took them all gently in.
Tears and fears, I'm feeling proud to say I love you right out loud. Dreams and schemes and circus crowds, I've looked at life that way.
But now old friends, they're acting strange. They shake their heads, they say I've changed.
Well, something's lost, but something's gained. You life's illusions I recall. I really don't know life at all.